This is Chris Sartorial. In this video, I'll be taking our previously drafted single dart skirt sloper and converting it into a flared or A-line skirt.
We're going to start with our back block, and we're going to add a little bit of flare to the hem, not a lot. But whenever you add flare to a straight skirt block, even if it's a little flare, what you don't want to do is add it all at the side seam. If you add the flare just at the side seam, when you sew up your skirt, all the fullness will be at the side seam. In other words, your center front and back will hang flat, and the skirt will wing out at the sides. So you have to distribute the fullness, some at the side and some through the center of your skirt panel, which we're going to do. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to be pivoting or rotating some fullness from the dart into the hem. I needed to measure the distance from the end point of the dart out to center back. This is 4 1/4. And then, as you can see, I made a mark here, that same distance from the center back at the hem. And now I'm simply going to start at my new mark and trace around my pattern. Until I reach the first dart notch. Now I need to decide how much of my dart I want to rotate to the hem. I don't want a whole lot of fullness. This is just going to be a slightly flared skirt. So in this case, I think I'll rotate about 3/8 of this dart. So I'm going to make a mark, 3/8 in from the outer dart notch. Take a push pin or anything else you can use to hold the pattern down at the dart end point. And I'm going to rotate this dart closed until my notch meets my mark. Holding the pattern down, I'm going to finish tracing around the skirt pattern, ending at the mark at my hem. Mark my end point of my dart. So this puts the fullness into the center of the hem. I also want some fullness at the side seam. Again, this isn't much. This is only about an extra inch of fullness here, so let's do about a 1/2 inch here at the side seam. I'm out a 1/2 inch at the hem to nothing where it meets the hip curve. Just draw a line. I'm going to square it here. And now, since my dart is now narrower, it doesn't have to be as long as it was. I can shorten it. And I think I'll shorten it about 1 inch from its original length. I'm going to come up and make a new point 1 inch higher than the previous one. And that will be the new end point of my dart. And I can draw in my dart legs. And I can close this off here. Now all I really need to do is add seam allowances and hem. So let's get to our front, which is very similar. Again, I have measured from the dart point out to the center front. In this case, it's 4 3/8 inches. And this made a mark 4 3/8 inches from the center front at the hem. Just like before, start tracing at your hem mark, around center front, and stopping at your dart mark. I'm going to mark that 3/8 because I'll take the same amount out of the front dart that I did out the back. And rotate that 3/8 out of the dart, meeting my mark, which throws it into the hem. And finish tracing. And I can come out like before, a 1/2 inch at the side. What you may want to do at this point is verify that the angle of your front skirt matches the angle of your back skirt. And this is quite right. If one side is more angled than the other, you may want to split the difference or balance the angle of the two patterns, because you don't want one skirt to have a wider angle than the other. That can cause your side seam to twist or torque in one direction. Now I'm going to square it at the bottom. Close this. And like before in the back, I'm going to shorten my waist dart 1 inch. And like I said, now I just need to add seam allowances, a hem, and true up my dart. Cut these out and sew them up. Here is the skirt. I've added a waistband to it, as you can see. It's slightly flared, but still has waist darts. You can pivot part of your dart into the hem as I did, or the entire dart. If you do, just remember to balance the angle of your front and back at the side. I enjoy your comments. Please tell me how this works out for you, and thanks for watching.